So this is going to be the video for day 12 and day 13 of my plan to become the heaviest marathon runner in the world. And of course I want to run a 2.5 hour marathon or faster while weighing over 220 pounds and benching over 400 pounds. So on Friday, as I was discussing before in the previous video, I did do a morning run. I had plans to go to a state park to run around with a friend, but I did decide to do some running in the morning also, to just do a little bit more. And of course, since it's Friday, it was one of my easier steady state runs where I just go at a slow pace for the entire duration, try to extend it. And I was at a good, I was at a pretty good pace for doing better than the previous workout, right? The last workout before, I kind of failed to do better, but I was tired, and sometimes it's good to have a break. This time I was at a pace to do better. You know, I was only doing 6.5 miles an hour. Just had to make sure I did the first 30 minutes straight before I can do some type of intervals or just see how I feel. And I mean, it felt very comfortable, so I could go past half an hour if I wanted to. Like I said, I was only gonna do half an hour because I had plans to run later. So I was only gonna do half an hour of running. I did accidentally hit the stop button on the treadmill, so I accidentally stopped it at 27 minutes, and I didn't restart it because I was 3 minutes off, and it was already better than not the previous workout, but the one before it. Right, the last workout I did for that was actually worse than the one before it, so it was still kind of a best in a while, so it was fine anyways. I know it's a slow pace, not for very long, but again, we're just trying to go for slow improvements so that we can replicate frequently, preferably every workout or something like that. And that's the only reason why it's so easy now. I'm not trying to kill myself. So I did accidentally hit the stop button, but it was at 27-28 minutes, so no point really restarting it there. And then in the afternoon, I did go to a state park to run around with a friend. I will also note that so it was outdoors, but it was also about 90 something degrees outside, so very hot temperatures. This friend said that we're gonna go run for an hour, and then apparently she couldn't really run that long, so it wasn't really just running straight, it was more just kind of running around. So it ended up being 3.3 miles total. We were out there for like an hour, but it was like jog for a little bit and then stop and walk, jog a little bit. Sometimes I would just start running away a lot faster, so I did go as fast as, I think the fastest pace I ran was 5-minute 55-second miles for just like a short burst, just running for fun. So it wasn't really like a quality run, I guess. It was just on and off, but it's not my fault. I would have done it. It's just my friend didn't really want to run straight for the entire 3.3 miles. I guess she's not much of a runner, but it was still good quality running. And you know, I did do arms that day too, and just like the time before that, my arms were feeling stronger. Not that my arm strength is really significant for this goal, but it is good to note that my arms were feeling strong. And then Saturday, which is today, June 13th, I was supposed to do 8.5 miles an hour intervals between that and 6 miles an hour, but I was supposed to do the 8.5 mile per hour interval for a total of 2 minutes 45 seconds to be better than the previous workout. But once I got to 2 minutes 45 seconds, I was still feeling comfortable, so I figured I'd just push to 3 minutes and call it a day. I didn't really see a point in stopping at 2:45, so I did 3 minutes, which was kind of the top end goal that I was supposed to go to in the end. But that was also the goal for the month, and I'm on day 13, so now I can kind of take it easy and alternate between that and 6 miles an hour. But I will say also that I need to figure out what the plan is moving forward for that workout. Now that I hit the 3 minutes, I was considering going longer, so the 3 minutes and 3.5 minutes, then 4 minutes, then 4.5 minutes, and 5 minutes. I don't know if I want to continue with that plan anymore. 3 minutes is kind of a lengthy time to maintain, and 8.5 miles an hour is kind of the minimum goal. I'm not 100% sure if I'm just going to extend it out like this, or if I'm going to, I might just increase both interval speeds as I can maintain it. So definitely 100% the goal now is not to increase the time, 3 minutes at 8.5 miles an hour, or 3 minutes at 6 miles an hour. It's just to make sure I do the whole, it's an hour of just complete running. So 3 minutes on, 8.5 miles an hour, 3 minutes, 6 miles an hour, straight back up to 8.5 minutes an hour, and then down to 6 miles an hour, and at least maintain that for the entire hour, because I need to keep my pace constant for all of my running. I can't let myself take breaks. So even though I did maintain it for 3 minutes, and then I'll go down to 6 miles an hour for 3 minutes, eventually I get tired and I start fast walking, ideally. Hopefully I don't go down to regular walking. The first thing I need to do is make sure that I extend an hour. So I'm going to do the same type of progressive overloading style that I was doing for that, just extend the amount of time I maintain. So if one time I do 8.5 miles an hour for 3 minutes, and then 6 miles an hour for 3 minutes, and then I'll do 8.5 miles an hour for another 3 minutes, and then I can take it easier from there. Next time I'll do 4 cycles, 8.5, 6, 8.5, 6, and then figure it out, and then add one more and make sure I get the full hour in. After that, I think what I'm going to do is, because half of the days already have steady running, even though it's 6.5 miles an hour now, 8.5 is still comfortable. So I was doing 7.5 no problem, maybe 8 miles an hour before. And those days are still going to exist, just faster, so I don't think I need to worry about having just steady paces. And I'm running outside now too, which is also steady pace. I don't let myself stop there, because I'm just going with how my body feels instead of thinking about pace. That's where the VO2 training from the interval is going to come in handy. It's going to make me breathe easier, which is going to make it easier to run outside. So I don't think it's necessarily too important to have perfect running at that time. But it's also a consideration that maybe the first hour of every workout needs to be steady. So I could try to work towards 8.5 hours of just steady, and that's a possibility. The other one is that once I do hit the full hour, without slowing down, just doing 8.5 and 6, alternate 3 minutes on, 3 minutes off. Then I can do 9 miles an hour and 6.5 miles an hour. And then 9.5, after I get that all the way, I'll do 9.5 miles an hour and 7 miles an hour. Did I say that right? Not yet. 9.5 and 7, yep. And then after that, I can do 10 and 7.5 miles an hour for recovery. At that point, my guess is going to be that I'm just going to try to extend the 10, because then I'm running fast enough that I really just need to make sure I maintain 10. So I would rather have the first full hour. 8.5 miles an hour is just like the first goal. It's not really that impressive, which is why I don't want to spend too much time trying to do slow running for 8.5 miles an hour. I think it makes more sense to try to build up to 10 miles an hour for the intervals, 3 on, 3 off, and then just keep extending 10 until I can do 10 for the whole thing. Because then the second part of the workout can only be, instead of having 10 miles an hour being the fast interval, right, for the half hour after the full hour, instead of having it be 10 miles an hour for the first day, and then so alternating between 10 miles an hour and 6 miles an hour. I would do 10 miles an hour, then 8.5, and then if I have to go slower, I will. And then the second day is using 11.5 miles an hour and 13 miles an hour. Both of them, I alternate which ones I use. I can do just 11.5 on one day, and then 13 on the other, and then 10 I'm just trying to maintain. And then hopefully 10 miles an hour will just be the slow recovery pace at some point. That's what I'm thinking. I think I'm going to try to build up. So instead of trying to maintain 8.5 for the full hour, I'll try to get up to 10 miles an hour, and then the recovery pace of maybe like 7.5 or something. And then I'll just try to keep extending the 10 until I maintain that for the entire hour. And then at that point, that would be at a pace for 2 minute and 40 second not 2 minute 40 second, 2 hour 40-minute marathon, which is definitely better than the goal I really have planned for now. So, but it is good to hit the 3 minutes, because now I just have to make sure I do that every single workout and don't let myself get weak on that. But it means that I am definitely running comfortably at the 8.5 miles an hour. I just need to make sure that my recovery pace gets faster and better. And just over time, though, I'm jogging 8.5 miles an hour, so I just got to keep doing it, hours every day, every single day, hours at 8.5 miles an hour. The other one's the bench. I do want to get my bench over 405, preferably for reps, maybe 450 pounds for the total goal, but got to get to 405 first. On my last workout when I benched, I used 355, so more weight than before. But last time I did maybe 3 reps. Possibility the 3rd rep was assisted, but definitely at least 2 full reps and pretty close on the 3rd. But so I went up 5 pounds from 350 to 355. And then on the first workout with 355, I only got 1, and I struggled. I tried a second, but there was no hope on that. So it was definitely not a good workout. But this time I did do 355 for the full 2, which puts the 1 rep max at just about the same as for when I was at 350. So that's good. I handled that well. Of course, I need to get to a 3rd rep, and I can keep moving up. But it still puts my 1 rep max at maybe like 380 or something. Again, when I first went to 355, the extra weight felt really hard for me, so doesn't mean I can just jump right there. But but then this time it was a lot easier, so that's good. I'm still at a pretty good pace for hitting maybe 4 or 5. Hopefully in the next 6 months. Hopefully I can get a sub 3 hour marathon in the next 6 months, but that's largely dependent on if I get injured. That tends to be the main issue. If I can just keep running, my body seems to handle 8.5 miles an hour fine. It seems to handle the mileage fine, but the tendons eventually get injured. So if I don't get injured, I do think it's possible to hit 8.5 miles an hour for a sub 3 hour marathon, hopefully in the next year. But I said that last year and I failed, but hopefully this year happens, and hopefully over 400-pound bench this year. And that is an official goal that I'm going to say. I'm going to try to get sub 3 hour marathon, over 400-pound bench, hopefully this year. And if it happens, that's going to be awesome. If it doesn't happen, whatever, I don't really care, because there's still a year after that. I'm still young. So, and that's all I'm going to say for this video. Those are my goals for now. And I'm going to finish the video now.